Hey guys, welcome back. This is part two of 100 items that I've sold on eBay over the past month. I want to make a couple clarifications from part one. There's already been a lot of comments, and it was just uploaded an hour ago. So there are a couple things I want to clarify. In the title, it says bread and butter. Okay, if you're new to reselling, if you're new to this channel, I talk a lot about bread and butter items. Okay, bread and butter items are items that, they don't sell for a lot of money. I mean, they're just good profit makers. There's nothing really special about them. Things like remote controls, things like just common items that actually sell really well. That's what I call my bread and butter items. Those are the items that you need to maintain a level of success. Really, the home runs, the really good profit margin uh, items. Those are, I don't want to say the exception, but it's just the bread and butter items are the ones that you pick up daily when you go out. It's these things that you're just always picking up. The Polaroid cameras, all this stuff that's kind of common, I guess you could say. It's you're always turning them over. It's bread and butter of your business. It's the basics. It that's what it is. So if you're not sure what I mean by bread and butter, if you're not sure, there's also a couple other terms that I use that we use in this reselling business. Quick flip. The idea of taking something and flipping it very quick. Typically, what causes it to flip quick is the price point. Um, let's see. What was some other things that maybe I talked about today? All this stuff. Oh yeah, I didn't really clarify this. Everything pretty much that you see in this video and in part one is typical stuff that I picked up at thrift stores, flea markets, yard sales. I'm not really doing any online arbitrage. I'm that treasure hunter. I'm the one that goes out and looks for it. Not that the online arbitrage or anything like that is bad. It's just we go out and we find the stuff. That's what's fun for us. So take all that for what it's worth, and let's get into part two. Okay, let's see, part two, and our first item. Oops. Okay, I had picked up a whole set of these wireless cameras, um, surveillance cameras from a yard sale. I believe it was $45 for everything. It was this actual camera. It was brand new, never used. It's an indoor wireless, and I got four outdoor wireless, and you'll see them, and the wireless receiver, which is actually a display. Sold it all. It's all already sold. Like I said, I believe I was at $45 on it, and you'll see what each one of these sold. So I really made some good money. But yeah, this Uniden, this particular brand or model is a really good model. And here we go again. I gotta turn my phone on mute. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, these are a real bread and butter. Just a typical, feedback builder. I was when I was with Dusty up in his neck of the woods up in Alabama. I had picked up like 15 of these, and they sell pretty good. I've got them selling for five with $3.35 shipping. Um, they're just good feedback builders. They're brand new. Nothing can really go wrong with them. And, you get 15 of them, or was it 20 of them, for $15, I think it was. So we're really making a good profit on them. But that's what it is. That's the bread and butter. Okay, here's some stuff. I'm going to talk about stuff like this because I think it leaves a lot of the good things that I get kind of out of the picture when it comes to sales updates on YouTube and for eBay. I'm going to start adding this stuff in. A lot of the items I do not sell on Amazon, okay? A lot of the items that I get are very good items for Amazon. So I will sell these items to my fellow resellers and for a very good profit on my end, which will leave them a very good profit on their end. I mean, I've talked about this several times, but and what I'll do is I'll in the listing, if they see it on eBay, I'll in the listing. They tell me what they want, I'll in the listings, and we'll make a deal on PayPal. And typically, it's not that they see it on eBay; they end up seeing it in a haul video or something like that. So it's not really that we're doing business outside of eBay. It's just that you could do business outside of eBay. It just has nothing to do with you can have your item for sale on several platforms. But anyway, this is some stuff that I got and I sold to a fellow reseller that sells on Amazon. Finding these things were great. Got them at $10 a piece, and brand new sealed the Lego Bionicles. Yeah, awesome stuff, guys. I was really excited to pick these up. There's this one. Picked this one up. Yeah, this was an expensive one, and got. I'm not gonna say what I got for them only because it's amongst resellers, and when you make deals with fellow resellers, it's between you two. So it's really not a matter of public record, but trust me, I did very well, and he's going to do very well. But just give you an idea of the stuff that we do get, I do get, and what it's actually selling for. I think this particular one, there were two other sellers on eBay that were brand new. I think one was like at $287 and one was like at $249 or something like that. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. I'll set mine at 120 and sell it real quick. I sold it real quick, but it was to a fellow reseller. And trust me, on Amazon, he'll make his money back plus a very good profit. And here's another one I got. And mind you, 10 bucks a piece, guys. That I got these for. Yeah, 60. Yeah, brand new sealed. I think these were 2000 and I'm not sure, 2001 maybe. Not totally sure, but yeah, Lego sealed, the older stuff. Oh my gosh, good stuff, good stuff. And this also went to a fellow reseller. It's a 5-disc CD changer. They can triple their money easily on Amazon with this particular item. And that's just, I don't do Amazon, and they see this stuff that I have, and there's really money to be made, sourcing off of eBay or sourcing off of fellow resellers. And as long as you have a reseller like myself that isn't all hung up on somebody else making money off of something you bought, get over that. Get over that mentality. Because as long as you are happy with the profit that's going in your pocket, you should not worry about what somebody else is going to sell it for, okay? You really shouldn't worry about that. As long as your pockets are getting lined. Here's another item that went to a fellow reseller. Awesome product. These things do really well, guys. The Dawn Joy therapy post-surgery, like ice pack, or the ice therapy. They always do really well on eBay. Apparently, they're going to do really well on Amazon too. So this was in excellent condition. Excellent condition. The person I got it off of, they used it for 1 week. There was no reason for them to lie about it. There just really wasn't. and you could tell it's so clean. You could just tell it was barely used at all. So yeah, another great item that and if I wouldn't have shown these, then I'm kind of it's like, look, these are items that I picked up and I resold. I mean, I do sell on eBay, but something, these are awesome items and they were sold and I made huge profits on them. So why not let you guys know items that are out there that really make really good profit? And these are some of them. And I haven't done that in the past, which I'm going to start doing because I mean, those are really good items that people need to be watching out for. Here's another item that went to a fellow reseller. Just the Altec Lansing, the docking station for, the Wi-Fi or the MiFi, the XM radio stuff. I mean, this thing was literally brand new in the box. I mean, it was all still, everything was in the packages and everything else. So that would be a good item for Amazon, even though the box is messed. You could sell it not as brand new, but like new, the box is open, and oh, I put so yeah, I didn't put new other. I just put seller refurbished. I may have copied that listing. May have done a sell similar, but anyway, yeah, it went to a fellow reseller. I mean, these are the kind of things, guys, you can pick up for a couple bucks at the yard sale. All this stuff, yard sales, guys. And this is a XM radio boombox, same thing. And it actually had the little XM radio thing in there, and it worked great. Everything about this is it's a cool look, and once again, great item for Amazon also. So yeah, I expect them to do really well on it. I made really good profit on it and, gave it to them at a good price and they made a really good profit. Same thing, went to another reseller. Here's another one of those Roombas I was talking about. Man, I just can't say enough, guys. I mean, I take the time and I clean these up. As you can see, that is like clean. When you buy these used, even off of eBay, look at some of these eBay pictures. I believe this is what sets me apart from, other sellers when it comes to like selling the Roombas or selling the vacuum cleaners or something like that. I take the time and I will clean them up and they are very presentable and I get a really good profit. I don't shoot way under the price on these because the time I put into them, they look really good. I'll get the higher dollars for it. But this went to another reseller, I believe, for personal use. But this did have an issue on it. As you can see, it's got that spot right there. But it works great. I mean, it's a great unit. These things are awesome. And I think it's really important that if you're going to be selling like vacuum cleaners or Roombas, take the time to clean them up. It doesn't take that much effort. And you would be surprised at how much more money you can get for them. And I printed off the manual for it. So, okay, we're back to eBay. I had this thing for over a year. I joked around with Texas Auction Picker. He sells a lot of women's bras. And actually, when I picked this up at the thrift store, I thought of him. And it was kind of funny. But yeah, a bra wizard. It measures your bra size, I guess. But it finally sold. I mean, it's been in my store forever. It finally sold. Nothing big, just bread and butter stuff. Somebody probably bought it to put it on Amazon. And here's another one of those Vera Bradley things that I picked up like for nothing. This is actually a tablet cover or an e-reader or like a iPad or something like that. It was new without tags. You could tell it had just never been used. Nice item. Here's another one of those cameras. Sold for $45 plus $7.55 shipping. It's just a wireless outdoor camera. Here's the actual receiver, and it had the, you know, where you can plug it into your computer and use your computer as a like a DVR, I guess you could say. Um, Great little unit. I believe it was 65, and you know, and that is significantly less than what a lot of them were going for. But I sold all this stuff just within a day or two of having it, and that was my intention because I knew what I had in it. Okay, and with selling of one camera, I got all my money back. So I had like 6 or 7 more items out of this actual um, set that it was all profit. So I was happy with it. And here's another one that sold. You know, here's another awesome just bread and butter, you know, like the Polaroid cameras, the Texas Instruments TI-84s. This is the plus. It's not the silver. But yeah, I got $67 for it. And they're just always, always, always great sellers. I don't really know why, but you know, for a quarter or 50 cents at our thrift store, I mean, you turn it into that kind of money, it's just it's almost kind of funny. If people that aren't doing what we're doing, if you told them, yeah, I turned 50 cents, I mean, they would just look at you like, nah, you're lying. But I mean, you guys have done these, you know this. Whenever I do my pictures for stuff like this, I go through and I use up my pictures. You know, I'll go through and make sure that, you know, there's all kinds of examples. So I think that's a good thing to do. Had these for a little while. I had them priced up there because I found some that just would sell very well, and I have to sneeze. Bless me. Sorry about that. But yeah, this Fontanini stuff, I guess, is, you know, desired. I don't know a whole lot about it, but yeah, they're just little plastic figures, and so ended up selling those for $54, $55 with $10 shipping. So it was a good deal. I got that in a lot at Dusty's place. Always do great with metal detectors. Always, 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 always. This is a bounty hunter, the Pioneer EX. I tested it. I printed out the manual for it, as you see. Guys, I can't express this enough. You know, so many times, like if I would have sold this without the manual and the buyer gets it, they don't know how to use it, they're bugging you to death. You know, like, I can't get this, I can't get that. And then you're trying to explain it. Well, maybe you aren't super up with, you know, how to use it. And then they end up saying, I can't get, I just want to return it. You know, take that extra minute. I mean, if you have the actual item, go to the manufacturer and download it. And, you know, you're entitled to own this manual because you have the item, and you're entitled to put it with the item. So always do really well with the metal detectors. Always do really well. I believe I took $70 on that plus $15 shipping. And sometimes, you know, sometimes people talk about, oh, your background, it's a floor. You know, some items are just so big, I don't worry about, you know, trying to set up a super huge backdrop of the white for stuff like this. I'll just go ahead and do this. So, you know, you want to show the little scuffs and scratches on it. Just don't leave any doubt with the buyer of what they are getting. Okay, I think that's really important. So, and here's another calculator. You know, it's a lot of people will pass up like the TI-30, the TI-30s and stuff like that. You know, for 50 cents, I'm still going to pick it up and I'm going to take the time to list it. I mean, you know, get 15 bucks out of it, a couple dollars in shipping. I mean, it's a feedback builder. It's the bread and butter, guys. I mean, it is what it is. So, and it sold really quick. I and that's just that was my intention. So, like I said, always, you know, put as many pictures as you can showing it working. You know, let people know that, hey, it's a good deal at a cheap price. Uh, my kind of thing. This is a 2 deck. Now this is what I'm talking about testing your electronics, guys. You know, I go through this stuff in and out. I got this item. It was awesome. I was super excited, and I got this with like 180 tapes. Um, you know, I got it. I hooked it up, turned it on, and the radio worked awesome. And I turned the cassette decks on, and sure enough, neither one of them worked. I'm like, the belt's out. Because on this older stuff like this, you have rubber belts that run them, okay, that run their little reels. And over time, the belts get brittle, they break, they snap, and that is a typical issue with a vintage cassette player. It just is, or a tape recorder. You know, the tape recorders that you get, it's a typical issue. The belts break or they need replaced. Um, so as much as I hated that, and I wasn't about to like replace the belt myself, I listed this for parts are not working. Okay. The radio works great. Cassette decks don't function properly. I believe it needs a new belt. Okay. But even at that, you know, the thing still sold for $30 with $13 shipping, because it's in such good condition and it is just a part of 80s history. A dual cassette boombox, you know, is desired. So don't just think that it's trash. Don't just think that it's trash. Let's see here. Okay. This is really strange. I had never come across this before. Um, and let me know if any of you have come across this before. This is one of those like very, I'm going to say rare because it was a very small company, I believe out of Australia, that made these. They didn't make a ton of them. It was only supported up through, I think, Vista, you know, XP and Vista. And it's called the Claw. I mean, it could be a gamer's or a designer's like dream, because as you can see what it is, um, it's a really neat piece. And I had priced it up at 50 bucks. I mean, I was excited about it, and it was really important. What I did was down in the description, I made sure I put that, you know, they're not being produced any longer. And then I said, I believe the last operating system was supported was XP and Vista. It may be possible to get the software from the website, which I couldn't find. And then I went through and talked about, you know, what they had on the website for it. And I gave them the website address. So, and I just figure with it being so limited and so rare that it should sell, and it should sell pretty quick, and it did. I believe it went for 45 with $8 shipping, and then that's really good money for a mouse, guys. It's called the Claw, or the Claw, and it really is rare, so I wasn't kind of, you know, overselling it by any means. You know, the AT&T phones, they're great, or the, you know, just the wireless phone systems. They're awesome systems, but there are some things you really need to watch out for. When you get these things, okay, it is very important that you clean them and you give them a full charge. Plug them in and let them sit, okay? Let the battery get a full charge. Then take the battery, off of the charger and let it sit. Don't turn it on, but just let it sit. See if the battery drains on its own, okay? I don't know how many times in the past I've sold, just the single handsets. And even though the batteries are only a couple dollars on eBay, you sell the handset, and you can even say that you can't guarantee how long the battery will last. You'll get a message saying the battery's dead, it won't hold a charge, and they want their money back. It's like, really? Just buy another freaking battery. But they don't want to mess with it. So it's really important if the batteries aren't holding the charge at all, or it's even remotely draining without them being used, and you can watch your battery meter, then you need to either buy batteries or sell them without batteries, okay? So there's just certain little things you need to be careful when you're selling certain things. With these handsets, the battery is the biggest issue. I know it sounds so small and so trivial. Change the battery. Well, let me tell you, it's not that simple with the customers. As far as they're concerned, it doesn't work. So, yeah. With the last video, I was talking about those one jeans, the silver jeans, and we found right next to those were these Harley Davidson jeans, which were the exact same size, which probably came from the same person. They were size 40, 30. They're the Harley Davidson, just blue jeans. They were in great condition. So I believe it was $25 or $27 that we took on them with the $6.50 shipping. I mean, for a couple of bucks at the good, I think it was Goodwill. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good profit. So we're not beyond selling clothing. I get nervous, and if I get into these high end stuff, I always get a hold of Ronnie Hart, to get his expertise on it. But stuff like this, it's almost a no-brainer if you look them up and see that they're selling for a decent profit and they're in really good condition, and they sold really fast. Listed them, and they sold really fast. So, which that's our model. Love picking stuff up like this. Love it. Here's another thing that I do, guys. What I'll do is when you have games or stuff like this, I will literally go through and bag up. I'll seal the parts to it, okay? It just gives it an awesome presentation, and you're not pulling it off that it's new or anything like that. It's used. It's in great condition, well taken care of. Box has some shelfware, and I mean it's just a really good way to sell your stuff. I mean, people think that's the little thing that you can do. It took me 5 minutes to seal all that stuff up. And that's what I talk about putting yourself over everybody else. What makes yours so much better than everybody else? And it's little things like that, guys, that makes you stand out. And that's what's key. And I've said this before. When you go to a job interview, they ask you, why should we hire you? What makes you a better employee than anybody else out there? And you have to come up with reasons why you stand out above them. Same thing here. Anything you can do with your listing that will, set you apart from the masses is only going to help you. And I listed this and it sold really quick. I don't know. I feel like I just keep repeating myself, but it's stuff that I think really people need to grasp, okay? And I think if they utilize stuff like this that I'm saying, I mean, here's another thing, okay? It's a space maker, spacers and mounting hardware, the bolts and stuff, okay? You can have them loose and you take pictures of them all over the place and the screws, but if it's in a package, okay, and you can tell these have never been used. So I mean, it's that presentation that will just put you over the top of everybody else. The good old bread and butter Boston pencil sharpeners. You know, some are worth quite a bit more. Some are worth not so much. I think I took $15 on this, and you know the shipping on it was like $6 because I sent it priority um, regional A. So it's like, wow, I didn't make hardly anything on this, even though it was only like $1.50. But it was just the idea. It's a good feedback builder. It's a good defect offsetter, which I'm not going to be too worried about the defects after, you know, February. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to pass up something that is a quick sell. And it was quick. I listed it and it sold really quick. The electric pencil sharpeners always seem to do really well. So, here's another, you know, I'm waiting to see. I sold this and I sold a pair of the, oh my goodness, I can't remember what they are. But the buyer got them, and after they wore them for a few hours, they just like disintegrated. So I bought these boots in the same lot as those boots, and I'm really kind of wondering, um, and sitting on pins and needles to find out. You know, I mean, I could sit there and play with the sole for a while, but if you guys don't know, okay, if you have boots like this pair of boots, it's a great pair of boots, and if they're stored for a long time in not really good climate control, it gets really hot or it gets really cold, the rubber can break down, okay? And if the sole is glued on, then after so much time and you know in crazy weather, hot, cold, you know, stuff like that, that glue can break down and the sole can literally separate from the shoe. If the rubber breaks down, believe it or not, after a few hours of wearing it, that rubber will start to disintegrate. And it's just a chance you take with boots that are older but still new. Okay, you know, because boots that are older that have been used and worn, okay, it's they haven't just sat and not moved at all. Okay, there's no flex to them, and the rubber's hardened in them, and if you or the glue's hardened, if you flex it, that glue's going to crack, break, separate, or whatever. But it's just a chance you take. I mean, I believe I took 75 on these. Um, it didn't seem they seem pliable and stuff like that, but you just never know. And don't think for a second if somebody you sell a pair of boots or shoes and a buyer messages you and said they disintegrated after 2 hours of use. Don't assume they're trying to scam you because it does happen. And it happens quite often with older boots like this, which are, you know, they're still new. But I mean, they're not made anymore. But it does happen. So keep that in mind. The old Princess phone. You know, they're really basic, the old rotary type phones. It is a yellow phone, but as I said in the description, there's some yellowing in the photos. I mean, if you see here the difference between the, you can just see the difference in the yellow, okay? There's chemical reactions that happen. I don't believe that one is a nicotine yellow because if it was, then the whole phone would be affected. Um, I, there's chemical reactions that happen with plastics that were used back when, and if you have a Nintendo system, you'll understand what I mean. How it kind of changes colors. There's certain processes you can go through to with UV light and stuff like that to get back your original color. To me, it's just not worth it. But I do know that these old rotary phones like this are worth some decent money, and the different colors, you know, command different prices. You know, so the I don't even remember. There's some cheaper ones, and then you know with like a red one could be much more expensive. So I mean, it's just a matter of what model and color it is. But yeah, these old rotary phones, if they're original rotaries like this, they do command some good money. And I didn't even sell this with cords, so yeah, it was a good profit for a couple bucks. Just I picked these up. These are some motor springs. It is what it is. Pretty basic stuff. They're for a 350 Vortec, and there's probably for a lot more different models, but I knew it was for a 97, so I just kept it at the 97, and they sold like within a day or two for 50 bucks. So I don't really know how much they could have went for, but to me, for $1, that was a good deal. Religious material seems to do really well. Joyce Meyer is a really good um, person when it comes to making, writing her books, and her material seems to sell really well on the secondhand market. Um, Plus, my wife reads every Joyce Meyer book out there. Um, this Battlefield of the Mind book, we've anytime we find one out there, we'll buy it, and if there's somebody that we feel could use it, we'll send them the book for free. Um, I mean, I don't know. It's a really good read, and it's a mindset thing. It is what it is, Battlefield of the Mind. So it helps you look at things differently. But yeah, Joyce Meyer always does well for us. We had it a lot longer than what we were expecting to have it because she does sell really well. It was just strange that it took so long for it to sell, but it did sell. It did sell. Here's another part from that Sony, that reel-to-reel from the last video. Uh, the little parts in it, guys, and don't think that like, oh, I gotta take this apart, it's so much work. No, it really isn't. A good way to find out, if you didn't watch the last video, okay, vintage electronics. If you see that this vintage electronic sells for really, really good money, chances are the parts for that vintage electronic are going to sell for really good money also. So what you can do is you can actually type in that vintage electronic and that model number, and pull up what's selling and what's sold, and you're going to see in those solds the actual parts of it, like repair parts and stuff like that. And like I said in the last video, I'm going to be doing a video on just how to deal with vintage electronics. Everything from parting them out to shipping them, the things you need to do to test them. I mean, I'm excited about it because that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love. And there's just certain things, like when you're parting out a vintage electronic like this, just for example, as you'll see how I have this extra wiring on it? Okay, you don't want to snip the wire at the base of, the wherever it's at on this. You want to leave that wire. That's going to really help that person, and they won't have to solder the wire back onto the component. So I mean, they can splice it in if they need to. But yeah, that's a critical thing, is leaving wires. So many people want to, if they get speakers, they want to snip that wire at the actual speaker. Leave some wire on that speaker. That's only going to help that buyer. And this is just one of those things. And you'll see on the actual item what parts sell for decent money on that. And you see, I saw this part sells good. It's the play, stop, record, control unit. I found it on it, and I went in and I unscrewed it, and I snipped the wires and took pictures of it and listed it. And sure enough, I mean, for something that would typically be thrown away, if you saw my last video and you see this video, I've made a lot of money on this spare one that I have. So it's really cool. These were awesome. Got these for $15. These are like dirt bike boots. Really good condition. They had some mud on them. I cleaned them up. You'd be surprised. You go to eBay and look up the Alpine Stars Tech 6 boots, or the Tech 5s or the Tech 8s. You'll see dirt and grime on them. It's like, why not take the time to just wipe them down? And I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, I wiped them down. They look They look really good, and you know, they're just really nice, high-end, you know, motorcycle boots with leather on the inside and steel toes and stuff like that. I mean, they show very little wear, you know, and I sold them very quick. And you know, everybody knows the higher the shoe size, the better. So you know, this is just another example of you know, and these were in a little thrift store that we rarely go into. And I know Dusty would know what I'm talking about. It's this little, it's in a shopping center, and it's a couple little Spanish people that run it. They don't really maintain their store very well. Things are just kind of spread everywhere. But they were sitting right behind the counter, and I'm like, "Are those for sale?" And you know, they're like, "Sure, $25." And I'm like, "Oh, see, they're kind of dirty. You know, they had mud on them and stuff like that." And you know, so got them for $15 ultimately, and you know, turned them into, I think they went for 95, I believe. So I mean, yeah, really good money, guys. I didn't really know what they were when I first saw them, but I just knew the quality when I saw it. So, and as you can see up here, you know, the Alpine 3, the Tech 3s, you know, all those are in the 200s, 189 and stuff like that. So, oops. Oh, where am I at now? Hold on. Sorry about that. There we go. Great profit, and great resale item. Okay, this has two things going for it. This is the Mizuno, okay, but what really has this thing going is it's left-handed, okay, so you actually wear it on your right hand. So many people, I was looking at these listings and it's like, oh my gosh, people will put right-handed glove, you wear it on your right hand. It's like, no, that's not how it is. It's a left-handed glove. So you know, it was $1.50, or I got two of them for $1.50. I got an older one in this one, and it's either $1.50 a piece or both. But yeah, you see the Mizunos. I mean, and if it's in really good shape, I mean, these things are always have sold well for me. I will pick them up any chance I get. You know, and a lot of people say, "Well, I'll wait for baseball season." When I get it, I list it. I don't hang around. So, great item if garage sales mostly is where you find these things, guys, for a couple bucks. $5, yeah, I'd be paying $5 for it. So, yeah, always a good item. Typical Hamilton Beach electric knife kit, guys. I mean, it was a garage sale item for $2, and it's just one of those things. It's, you know, it's brand new, and you can't really go wrong with it. I think I took 17 or 18 on it, I believe. I don't have it pulled up anymore over here. But yeah, I mean, 17 or 18 with like $7 shipping. So we did really well on it. You almost can't go wrong with stuff like this. And it's new. So, yes, the boat finally sold. I ended up selling this for $103.50 plus the $24.99 shipping. So it finally ended up leaving my shelf. I don't know why it took so long, but you know, it is what it is. It's what's key with a lot of these vintage like remote control bolts is the name. This is like the Kyosho. That's a really good name in like remote control. I mean, this has everything. This has all the sensors, and I mean, just the servos and motors and everything else. So I hope he likes it. He should be getting it soon. So it's one of those things. And I didn't offer return because I flat out said I have no way of testing it. The battery that's in it won't hold a charge. So I don't know. I don't know. And so I listed it as I do not offer returns. It's untested. So we'll see how that goes. This is a great item. A lot of people pass up this stuff, guys. Some of these adding machines, calculators, can bring some really good money. I know on Amazon, this particular model, go look on Amazon, the CP1213D, which somebody probably bought this to sell it on Amazon. These things bring stupid money. But yeah, I made sure everything worked good. Went through, cleaned it up, showed the different positions it could take. There's the ribbons. The ribbons work great. And I mean, you just want to do everything you can to show quality, and it sold really fast. So, I mean, do you guys see the theme here? I mean, if you're looking at these prices I'm selling this stuff for, and I'm saying it's selling really fast, and you know I'm only in it a couple dollars, it just makes sense. Even though, yes, it could be selling for more money. But go through back, rewind it. Rewind this video back to the number one and then this one. Knowing what I pay for this stuff, guys, I mean, and then seeing what they're actually selling for, it's like, man, that's some good profit. You know, so at least know you're going to get this amount of money out of stuff like this. When you watch my videos, you could probably say, yeah, Chad got 60 for it. I could probably, if I'm you know, that would be something that I would, you know, price 20, 30, 40, $50 more and probably sell it over a certain amount of time. So, but it's almost not about the price with me. I'm just showing things that sell really quick. So, and the good old dream machines. I've had 2 of these, and I sold both of them. So they're just neat. The Sony Dream Machines always do well. I have no idea why. They just do. Had this for a little while. It's one of those things you list and it doesn't take up much space and you just pretty much leave it. It's the Lord of the Rings audio book CD set. So you know, it is what it is. It's in a wooden case, and it finally sold. You know, I didn't really mess with it too much and just left it. And it's one of those things that if it's gonna sell, it's gonna sell. If it's not, hey, it's not taking up that much room. But yeah, it sold. Really cool piece. I really expected to get more money out of this. I had it listed for quite a while. And, you know, I ended up taking, I think, $22 or $23, I believe, on it. But yeah, it even has the inserts still, and you can decide which one you want to put on the front cover. So, and that's cool. And the person that bought this off of me sent me a message and said, is this their real, like, original era one, or is it a repop, a copy? I'm like, nah, this is the real one. This is like the 1968 one. So you'll get it at a good price with me. And sure enough, they bought it up. Remember those old vintage t-shirts I got? I mean, these things, these old vintage t-shirts, they've got stains on them. They've got yellowing. Let's see if I can show you some good yellowing. I mean, it's bad. Look at that, guys. It's bad. But it's not so much about the yellowing and the stuff like that. This is just 100% 70s, 80s original, you know, original shirt. Okay, they just did not survive. They weren't made to survive. I sold so many of these old, like Star Trek, Star Wars, all this Farrah Fawcett, you know, these old vintage 70s and 80s t-shirts. You know, they had like age yellowing dots and just all kinds of stuff on them. And people still bought them because you just can't find them in their original era. I would wear a yellowed shirt, you know, that was white, but it was yellowed if it had the cool factor. Absolutely. And I haven't had a single return, and there was probably 50 of them that I've sold, and they all had some issues like this. I mean, really issues. But you know, I haven't had any issues with returns. Um, they they sold for some really. I mean, I've sold them from 70 to, I think one I got 100 and something for, but 70, 50, 30, 20s. I mean, yeah, there was some really good money in them. These are really cool, and now is about the time that this would sell. Getting to be fall, people are going to be deer hunting, making their, you know, their deer jerky and stuff like that. I had this listed before, and this is one of those items I think Dusty or somebody was talking about on a show. You don't realize it didn't get relisted, and it just kind of ends up sitting there on the shelf, and you forget about it, and it's like, why hasn't that thing sold? And then you go to look, and it's like, man, it hasn't been listed. So it fell off and you missed it and never got listed. Well, I saw it and I found it and I relisted it and it sold. So yeah, very cool. The food dehydrators, you know, they're good things to sell. These old timers, you know, for the, like I said in the last, the sprinkler system timers, the light timers, you know, stuff like that, they always do really well. This is really cool. I mean, people come across this in a garage sale and they just like, look how broke this is, guys. I mean, take a look at this. See all these slots that are literally broken out, broken out. And you see in this, what this is, it's an old 78 record holder, and it's made out of Bakelite. You know, to the common eye, you know, somebody would be like, that's freaking junk. I would not buy that. But, you know, somebody like me that comes up on it, it's like, oh my God, there's a Victor record holder. You know, the Victor is rubbed off of this thing so many years ago, probably. And see that pattern right here? That is just so 30s. And when you see that, it just excites me. And in all actuality, something like this, that's Bakelite, that has these slats like this, it's really rare for something like this to even survive this long in this condition, believe it or not. Now, if these weren't broke and they were still all intact, this would be a $200 piece, pretty easy. So, it was at a garage sale, and it was $2, and I jumped all over it, and Kim knew I was excited, and it's just, I don't know, it's just super, super cool. You just don't see them anymore. And that's what excites me, guys. It's what excites me. And I hope you guys get excited. You know, I almost like, I think a lot of times it's like, do people get as excited about things as I do? Because I feel sorry for them if they don't. You know, what's their passion? I mean, this isn't fake, folks. I love this stuff. I love what I do. And if you don't have that, what I'm feeling right now, you need to find something, because if you don't, then you're missing something in life, okay? And it could be a matter of, you know, little pet shops, if they make you happy. If it's something that when you see it, you get this feeling and you get excited, you know, and I know there's going to be people saying, blah, 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 you know, too much information, TMI, whatever. You know something? This is my channel, and I'm going to say what I want to say. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And when you love something, then you take it serious and you put the effort in. And as much as I would love to keep stuff, I know I can't keep everything. But guess what? Because I love it, I cleaned it up. This thing was so dusty and so nasty. It was in rough shape. You could, okay, if you look here, can you see like the grain in this Bakelite? You couldn't even see that. It was totally gooped, really bad goop. And because I love this stuff, you know, I cleaned it up and it was exciting for me to do. Okay. So if you don't have that love, if you don't have that passion for something, find it. There's got to be something out there that you have this passion for. And, you know, I hope you do. I really do. Because it makes me happy. I bought, this is so exciting. I mean, I think I touched a little bit on it. I got a phone call. Dusty helped me. Literally, he was looking on my Craigslist. Okay. I got a phone call about some vintage electronics. I made a phone call from an ad, some vintage electronics. I went to go see them. There were two huge speakers. They were infinity speakers sitting there. And, I mean, these things, this is actually what they were right there. I mean, and they're like 5 feet tall. They weigh about 200 pounds a piece. And they were sitting there. And, you know, I just kind of passed them up. I knew they were kind of special. Awesome. So I went to the receiver that he actually was advertising. And I bought that off of him. And then we came back to the speakers. And I'm like, yeah, see these, they're blown. They're blown here. If you can see all the way around, the cone is separated. So, you know, and I saw that they're infinity speakers, and I wasn't 100% familiar. I mean, on these speakers, there's the two woofers, you got the tweeter, you got the mid-range, two mid-range, and then the two tweeters, and then there's another tweeter on the back. Okay. So, after I got home, you know, I got them for $20, $10 a piece. Got it home, found out that they're Infinity Kappa 9s. Holy cow, folks. These things sold for like, what, $2,400 a piece. And, you know, I'm looking them up and I'm looking up the blown, these blown woofers, which I listed two woofers. This is from one speaker for 120 bucks. You know, sold them within a few hours for 100 bucks and with $22 shipping. And then I listed right after those sold, I listed the other set and sold them. And here's a good thing, guys. Whenever you're dealing with speakers and stuff like that, do an ohm test. Okay, it's one thing that these things are blown when it comes to the cone, new cone. But with this, if you do an ohm test, okay, what this is telling me is on the speakers and the magnets, okay, you got the little wire that's wound around real tight, okay, and if initially this will come up as just a 1, okay, and if you do this ohms test on it and it stays at 1, that means that wire screwed up, okay. So, but if you get the reading, because these are 4 to 6 ohm speakers, the whole system is on this. So if you get this reading, then that means everything's still intact and it's in really good shape. So, and that's why you can command, I mean, two blown woofers, you know, I got 100 bucks, turned around and listed the other two, got 100 bucks, and I got $20 into these speakers, guys. Sold this receiver, home theater receiver, awesome, 150. Got this for, what did I get this for? I think this was $9.99 at the Mission. Cleaned it up, tested it, worked great, and awesome. And here's two of the little tweeters, guys. It's got 150 bucks out of these two. These, I mean, they're about this big. $150 for this set. It's like this one and the one from the other one. So it's a set. And I went through and tested each one. This is really important, guys, if you're going to play with the high-end stuff. This is what I'm talking about, the things you need to do to show this buyer that, you know, they're not buying a piece of crap. And that's how you're going to command a higher dollar. Say, it's showing that these are testing out. I mean, this tells the buyer all he needs to know about, you know, whether he can just put this in the system and they should work or not. So, yeah, I did really well on those. And this is another item from that old reel-to-reel. You know, this is a spare motor, and it sold. I mean, it's, guys, that reel-to-reel, that spare one has made me some really good money. Just goes to show, if you have a good brand and good model, then the parts will also sell very well. Here's another part from that. This is the actual head, and one of the heads is, I noted, if you can see here, there, one of the heads, actually the wires came loose on, and you know, I documented that, let them know that, and I believe I got 45 on that. But yeah, these heads can go for a lot of money. And this is just the rollers, you know, the roller on this reel-to-reel, you know, 15 bucks a piece, and I sold them both. I mean, people just, they'll throw away stuff like this. And here's the actual brake for the reel-to-reel, for like when you turn it off and it actually stops instead of just keeps rolling. This is called the brake. And I believe I got 13 or 14 for this. I mean, it was just took 3 seconds to pull it off, and it's just extra money. Here's another one of those I sold. Here's another part of that reel-to-reel. And see here, once again, it's important to keep wires. There's no need to go and snip. Let's see, let me turn this over. I don't have a picture. There's no need to snip this wire as close as you can. Those wires are only going to help the new owner. And here's another piece from that reel-to-reel. This is the actual one of the spindle decks, and it's just, man, I'm telling you, it's, and this has the brake drum on it right there. That's the brake drum. There's just, you can just part these things out all day long, and once you list it, they don't take up much space. It doesn't take much work, and I mean, look at the money. I think this was 25 bucks. I mean, it's just the 25, the 15, the 40, the 45. I mean, that one spare part is his spare machine has really made me a lot of money, just, you know, on just stuff that anybody else would have probably just thrown away. So don't forget, don't miss my video coming out. Be looking for it. It's like how to deal with vintage electronics. I mean, really deal with them the right way. You know, there's awesome videos out there how to ship a vintage electronic. You know, but we're going to go into it, like I said before, you know, on a turntable. You know, if it's on the springs, you got to lower that all the way down. Okay, you have to make sure the actual tote arm is secured. There's just certain things you need to do when it comes to shipping certain electronics. So be looking for that. Well, that's it for this second video, and I can't believe it took me an hour for this one. I apologize, guys. I did 100 the last time in an hour, and I did 2 videos, and the second one took an hour. I apologize. I hope you get something out of this. You know, let me know in the comments if it was a total waste of time, if you got something out of it. Because that's really my intention, is to, you know, to try to get you to think out of the box when it comes to items that you're seeing or passing up that could really make you some money. Let me know. I thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, you know, hit the subscribe button. And I'm hoping to bring, you know, more content and Kim's excited about coming on and doing some stuff with me. Um, it's just great. We love doing this. So thank you for your support, and we shall catch up. Have a good one.